this man a straitjacket, lock him up and get this money away from him and give it to somebody who can be responsible with it. Because this shit is just sad all around. This is why I look at, like, you know, this is why I look at when people have money. What's wrong with having money? This shit right here. Let's talk about the Pillow Man. We're talking about Mike Lindell. You know, he's called that pillow guy. It's funny because every time I see him with these pillows, it's like he's molesting these pillows or sexually assaulting these pillows.
Did you see what I named that picture when I sent it to you?
No, what'd you name it?
I was like, this guy really wants a pillow. Like, it's not even a suggestion. It's totally implicit there, you know? Yeah,
every time he's talking a pillow, he looks like the biggest creep, man. Like, you don't see his other hand here. It looks like his hand is right up in that pillow right now, man, doing appropriate shit. This guy, yeah, this... I wouldn't. Let me ask y'all something. You know, because everybody talks about these pillows. These pillows made this man a billionaire. Would you buy a pillow from a dude that looked like that? I wouldn't. Shit, that pillow probably got all kind of fluids on it and shit anyway. You know, like, this dude looks. I've seen people look less appropriate with human beings than he is with this pillow right here. I've never felt so scared for a pillow for an inanimate object in my life, man. Shit, if you look close, you can see tears coming out this pillow right here. No, nobody would buy a pillow from this guy. You want to buy a pillow? No, not from you. So why people are buying all this other bullshit from this guy, I don't know. But this is the guy that he's been out there ever since the election, the last election between Trump and Biden. Now, we all know that. I guess we don't, because half the country's still crazy behind this shit. But reasonable people know that whether you like the candidate or not, reasonable people will say, all right, you know what? The country has spoken. Biden won the election. I'm not sitting up here bringing any kind of politics or anything into it. I'm just saying, you know, it is what it is, man. That's the way it worked out. But this man has been on this crusade for Trump and has just doubled down and gone harder on this crusade ever since the night of the election, and ever since Trump has just been lying and telling people that he won. You know, I mean, Trump is a cult leader, and I can see him just having this influence on some of the people out there that might be of less intelligence or less social status. But this man's a billionaire. This man sold $1 billion worth of pillows and sheets, and I don't know why this guy has such a hard-on for this one thing here, but what's going on with this is that the shit was wacky when you know, at the start.
You can make up anything.
Who can? No, you can't. We're giving it to the cyber people part.
You could possibly be the victim of a scam here.
Are you worried about me? We should give a hug.
Yes, we are. This guy's, listen. I've sat here and watched this guy many times, and I've said, this asshole, this son of a bitch, this mother over here. And I've looked at him with contempt because spreading this information, as we've seen with the riots on January 6th at the Capitol, is dangerous, man. It's potentially dangerous to keep pushing these people. But this guy, he hasn't slowed down. And I'm now at the point where this is a billionaire that keeps doing this shit. And listen, y'all know this man, and because I've made jokes about it. Everybody's made jokes about this to the point where it's kind of an easy shot right now. But y'all know that the man is a former crackhead, and I'll use that word former loosely because I'm beginning to think that and this is not, a lot of people make these jokes, but I'm beginning to wonder, is this fool smoking crack again? Or is his brain, was he such a crack addict that it fried his brain? Does he have crack brain right now? And I'm being serious. Like, did he smoke so much? Did he suck on that glass dick so long that it has affected his mentality? And I feel bad about it because the man has made $1 billion, and he's willing to lose it all over some crackpot conspiracy theory. And I'm just thinking, you had to be nuts to do that. And are we laughing at a man? Are we laughing at a mentally ill person? Now, I know we don't like to do this because they've used mental illness to get people off the hook for a lot of things. You know, usually for a lot of people who A lot of white criminals, they've gotten off the hook by trying to plead insanity. Sure. So I'm not trying to do that right now, but I look at this guy and I'm saying, and I'm going to show you after I hand this over to Christian, but I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, you know, are we slowly looking at a guy have just a very gradual nervous, a public nervous breakdown? Are we laughing at somebody who's mentally ill? Because while I've sat up here I've sat here and taken glee in this man, making a fool out of himself, and now I'm beginning to think like, well, shit, maybe this isn't funny. Maybe this guy really is mentally insane. He's about to lose it all because he's crazy. But I'll go to what I really want to show you, but go ahead, man.
Yeah, I just want to add something very briefly here, which is like you said, you've talked and looked at him with contempt, and contempt is much easier to have than compassion. Now, like you said, a lot of assholes will say, I'm mentally ill to get out of something, but I really don't get that vibe from this weird pillow. You know what I'm saying? Like, he really seems to believe the things that he's saying. And if you believe with all of your being that you were right and everyone else was wrong, like, I guess you would act this fervently like he's doing as well. But it freaks me out because I don't think he is willfully spreading lies the way the Trump administration people were, Trump himself, all, you know, the Alex Joneses of the world and stuff like that. I think this guy's a true believer, which is horrifying. Like, that someone is that brainwashed. I think he's emblematic of how a lot of people sort of fell for the cult of personality of Trump. The difference is he has enough money, seemingly, to know better and to not squander all of it. So, yeah, I mean, to your point, I think the dude's mentally ill. Now, does that garner our contempt further because he's saying horrible things? Or do we have any compassion for him? I think it's really hard to be compassionate, but I would implore us that maybe we should try. That's my 2 cents.
Another reason why this is not funny, because let's just say that this man really is out of his mind, which I do believe he might be. You got a guy with $1 billion, man, who's out there losing his shit. But as we all know, it's easier to go and, I don't know, contain, capture, get put into treatment, put into therapy, somebody who doesn't have as much money, somebody who who doesn't have so much influence. It's easy to take somebody off the street. It's easy to probably get a family member in the treatment and put them on medication. When this dude has as much money, can't nobody make him do shit. And with that craziness that he has, he can go out there and influence more people to be just as crazy as he is. People are probably on the brink of losing their mind like he is with not as much money. Because I tell you, if this asshole was out on the street talking the same shit that he's talking right now, but he just wrote on a cardboard sign and shouted in the sky at passing cars, everybody would be like, oh, that guy's nuts. But because he has money, some people think like, well, shit, he must be legit because, hey, how else could he have gotten to where he is in life? Maybe there was a moment where he was stable, but that crack residue kicked in and he was already a little bit insane anyway. And now it's with nobody to restrain him. He's let loose like the goddamn, like a crackhead Tasmanian devil, man. Here's what I want to show you though. This is what's crazy. So now this is where I'm talking about having money and giving that to an insane person, do whatever they want to do. This is where it gets nuts. It makes me think you should have a mental evaluation before you are allowed to have $1 million, man. He has these cyber symposiums now, and CNN is talking about this. Now, I want to pull back and say, like, I don't think that CNN, I'm not looking at them and thinking like, oh, CNN is right. CNN got him. I don't care, man. CNN is just as biased as anybody else out there. I've seen a couple
cases. Definitely not the pinnacle of journalism, for sure.
No, not at all. But they did, but Mike Lindell is there. They did capture footage of this cyber symposium. This cyber symposium is supposed to be something where he's going to expose all of the lies and all of the secrets and the whole conspiracy, and it's going to blow it up. And the reason why I'm talking about this today, the reason why I gave you to talk about it, because it is August 13th, Friday the 13th. And just like Jason keeps coming back, they thought that Donald Trump was going to come back and be president on this day. Why? Because, well, it got pushed from the 9th to the 10th to the 11th to the 12th to now to the 13th. Every day Trump was supposed to be returning like Jesus or rising from the dead or some shit. And it's just not happening. But today was going to be the day. that this was going to happen. And a couple of days before, yesterday or something, he had a cyber symposium to let people know, like, I got all the answers here. And when he comes back, you're going to see that all of this was correct. I was correct. But it is sad, man, because this is a crazy man spending all his money just to have a public display of how delusional he is. And this whole thing is melting down around him.
China took our country. Would that bother you?
But you have to show the proof for it. No, right? The conference was supposed to begin about an hour ago. He's claiming that it's because of an attack.
It's the same crowd around these things. These old white people out there just waiting to have. Please, these old white people want these brown and black people out this country. It's so bad that they're listening to they're watching a crazy man melt down and make a fool of himself on stage. They are so desperate to get this country to whatever perceived thing it was before that they listen to they paid money, or at least they're paying with their time, showed up to look at a crackhead give false information for whatever kind of conspiracy theory he has going on. I'm laughing, but I'm just thinking, man, should I be laughing at this dude? This dude is, the more this goes on, the more it shows how crazy he is. This man has done so many different things. He had a telethon. He tried to start a network. Every time it happens, all of it just blows up. It implodes around him. And I'm thinking, man, somebody come get before he spends all this money on nonsense. I mean, at this point, he's doing all of this shit with no proof. It never works. He could just be throwing money into the streets right now. It's going nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, look, maybe that's the best we can hope for, right? Because most people think he's unhinged and he's not super believable. I mean, obviously, there's like 45% of the country that believes that he's believable, but that's neither here nor there. So maybe the best thing we can hope for is that he spends himself into bankruptcy and can no longer have the platforms in which to espouse that shit. When I think of this dude, it reminds me like, all right, so I'm not a huge Bible guy, but I've always really liked the book of Job. But I always like to reimagine it because Job gets tested. I mean, Job's just continues to get shit on, and he never wavers in his faith, and people think, oh, that's such dedication, and I'm like, no, Job has to believe that, otherwise he's the most unlucky in the world. It's like, so Mike Lindell has built this like foundational lie so much that he needs it to be true, otherwise he has become an insane person who has sunk a bunch of his personal wealth into a sinking ship.
Yep. I mean, I hate to see that much money, even for a guy like this, because money can be used to just help things, man. I read an article yesterday. It's funny how people don't think of this, man. I read an article yesterday. It was written by a girl who says that I go out and I behave like a struggling artist or just a struggling creative, just so I can fit in with people. And that was kind of a cool angle. She says she changed her way of talking. She doesn't let people know what, about her family, or she even has I guess whenever she's around, she even has maybe an apartment to kind of have as a front as being a common person. It was weird.
I got to be that rich where I could buy a poorhouse for when I want to slum it with the poorest.
Yeah, man. That's kind of what it's like. It's like, wow, okay, so you can afford to look poor. You get this. I'm so rich, I can afford to be poor.
I have the money to achieve the aesthetic of a poor. That's amazing.
It was so, and it was interesting. And I said, okay, well, I get that. You don't want people using you. You don't want people to you don't want people to be disingenuous around you. I get it. But then it delved off into, and the only problem with having so much money, after she went off and said, I'm rich. I'm filthy rich. I don't have to work, and I never plan on working. I had horses growing up. I had nannies. I never have to work a day in my life again. The only problem with that, oh poor me, is that I just have no drive in life. I have no passion. I don't know what I want to do. I'm single. Because I just can't relate to some people. I just don't know. Poor me, right? And she says, just admit it. You hate me too. I'm like, well, when you put it that way, I hate you because, wow, I don't. Yeah, when you put it that way, I understand. Rich people have emotions too. I get it. But when you come crying to me talking about, I don't know what to do with my life. I don't know. You have other money in the world. Why don't you try helping people? You know, why don't you go out there and try to give, sink into philanthropy? You know, you're sitting on money and seeing people out there, you're talking about like, oh, these poor people out here, I wish I could be like them. Well, you know what? Why don't you help them? And, you know, and that's what I think about this. This man has billions of dollars. Like, man, besides seeing him have this public meltdown, I'm thinking like, you know, I hate seeing this money wasted. There's so much that could be done with this money to help people, and he's putting it out there, just wiping his ass with it to try to tell people a lie. So I don't know, man.
Yeah, but again, I think it's a lie he believes to be the truth. It doesn't make it any less irresponsible. It's horrific, but I think that that's the separation. That's the difference between being actually mentally ill and insane and then being a willful, ignorant asshole trying to sow the seeds of discontent. And he's achieving both, but I think his intention is to be one of them, which I think makes it a little bit more sad. Yeah.
It is, man. It's sad all around. Take this money out this man's hands. Put the like he's like Elmer Fudd or some shit. You know, just out there.
He's what Chet Hanks becomes if not dealt with.
Yes. Damn, he kind of looks like an old Chet Hanks too.
Yeah, there you go.
Put this man a straitjacket, lock him up, and get this money away from him and give it to somebody who can be responsible with it. Because this shit is just sad all around. This is why I look at, like, you know, this is why I look at when people have money. What's wrong with having money? This shit right here.